what is DNS and how can DNS be used to improve the way that we move?
So DNS, I mentioned him earlier, but Pavel Kolaj is he's actually a physiotherapist and a neurologist out of the Czech Republic that works out of the Motol hospital there. But he was an understudy of all of the giants in honestly, the physical therapy realm, right? Chiropractic was not a thing, in Eastern Europe at this time, but like Vladimir Yanda and, oh gosh, I'm blanking on a few of the other big names, but they'll come to me here in a second. These were the Vladimir Vojta, Carol Levitt. These were the like behemoths of like this realm. Well, he studied with them, like they were his mentors directly. So here you take this person, again, amazing athlete, gets these mentors, starts to think about these things, where the concepts are already built, right? There's nothing new with humans. It's just how we perceptualize it and then package it to make it make sense to other people. So he started putting together the concepts really from Vojta, which was doing what's called reflex locomotion, because he worked with people that really had like neuromotor developmental issues, right? Like cerebral palsy. And he started working with these people. And then the way he was working with people, Pavel Kolaj said, well, wait a minute, maybe this goes outside of people with neurodevelopmental disorders. So maybe it's normal public, maybe it's babies, maybe it's athletes. So DNS is less of a methodology and way more of a lens, right? So it adheres to the principles of what's called developmental kinesiology, which is just how we learn to move without being taught how to move on a normal timeline. So, right, humans are one of the few mammals that come out of the womb that aren't fully developed movement-wise. So it takes us a long time. It's because the theory is that we have a massive central processor, a brain that can do a lot of cool stuff. Well, that takes time to develop. So we sacrifice early movement. We link our central nervous system development to movement. So as we mature, we're building parts of our brain, and that way we move is actually a representation of our central nervous system maturation or development, which that's the whole theme. Well, how do we use it for exercise and treatment, things like that? Well, it doesn't matter what you're working on, right? How you move is largely dictated by these subcortical patterns that were set early in life, and then what you do over time. So if you miss a step, right? If I don't crawl, if my parents set me up in some weird chair before I can actually sit upright, if I have a nervous system disorder, right? Or I have a stroke or all these things, it affects like how my body moves. Well, I'm going to go back to square one. That's what DNS is doing. We're saying, hey, this is kind of an idealized pattern, right? Idealized, not dogmatic, just idealized. We want people to go back into these movements that were pre-programmed, utilize that to tap into pure movement, centration of joints, good muscle synergy around joint complexes. And with that, we can do a lot of cool shit like, increase range of motion, get people out of pain, decrease muscle tension. All sorts of stuff. And then the far end of the spectrum is you're really working on how you process stuff within your cerebellum and then also your cortex. That's where you see crazy stuff happen. Like one quick example is I think at the time he's a 6-year-old kid that he never crawled. And then he didn't walk until he was almost 2, which for people that don't know, you should walk around 12 to 15, 16 months. He never walked until 2 until he started going to PT to walk. Well, he gets to about 6 years old. He can't touch his toes. Sitting in the bathtub, his parents say he's complaining of like hamstring tightness, having pain. He comes in and we work like 2 sessions. Kids are like little sponges. So he, stuff changes fast using DNS. Well, his mom comes back in like the 3rd visit and she goes, he's doing really well. He can touch his toes now, all this stuff. Like we're talking like 2 weeks. But she goes, the interesting thing is his teacher said that like his writing is like vastly improved. So, right. His fine motor like control was like through the roof because he had better ability to process stuff, because that's what you're really working on. Right? We're not working on muscles and joints. We're working on your central nervous system, which is why some people push back against us saying that, because they're like, you don't understand neurology. Nobody does, not even the best neurologists in the world. And it's like, we've got a pretty good hunch, and I'm going to operate off that good hunch rather than stretching and icing and foam rolling you to death. So that's what I'm going to go with.